Trudeau is picking a fight with Trump. That's not smart. Here's Trudeau saying that Americans are regressive, sexists, for not voting for Kamala Harris.
Now, it shouldn't be that way. It wasn't supposed to be that way. We were supposed to be on a steady, if difficult sometimes, march towards progress. And yet, just a few weeks ago, the United States voted for a second time to not elect its first woman president. Everywhere, women's rights and women's progress is under attack, overtly and subtly. But I want you to know that I am, and always will be, a proud feminist. You will always have an ally in me and in my government.
And here's Trudeau a couple of days earlier saying that Americans are too stupid to understand who they chose in the last election. They're not being really thoughtful like he wants them to be.
Thank you for your thoughtfulness. I hope some of the things I said actually, pierce through the haze of challenging situations everyone's in. Canadians are fundamentally thoughtful about the kind of future we want, the kind of solutions we're going to put forward to improve our communities, to improve our neighborhoods, to build a better set of opportunities for our kids. And every election is about that as we approach what will be an election year next year. And my only request for everyone is to be really thoughtful and go into the choices you make with eyes wide open. I think there's a number of folks in different countries, and I won't point out any particular one, where folks are going to be wondering about the choice they may be made in elections. Let's not be that kind of country in Canada. Let's be deliberate about the choices we make. If we want to stop fighting climate change, if we want to re-legalize assault-style weapons, if we want to put back into question women's rights, if we want to scrap $10 a day childcare across the country and stop delivering free dental care to vulnerable seniors, then in a democracy, that's a choice people can make. Get rid of the CBC too. That's a choice people can make. But let's take on the responsibility as electors, as thoughtful agents of change in our communities, to be smart about, no matter how much we want change, let's not fall into an easy trap of voting for change for the worse. Canadians deserve better, and I know they're going to pick it.
Yeah, how's this quarrel with Donald Trump going to end? I'll tell you how. Trudeau wants a trade war. He actually wants one. Let me back up a little bit to set the scene to show you how this came about. As you know, Donald Trump's main campaign platform was to stop mass immigration in the United States. Most of that is illegal mass immigration, whereas here in Canada, most of it appallingly is legal. We let millions of people into Canada on purpose. In the U.S., I suppose you could say that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris let them in on purpose too, but only in the sense of not enforcing the law, not guarding the border. There are millions, perhaps tens of millions, of illegal migrants in the U.S., and Trump says he's going to kick them out. Most of them came in from the southern border with Mexico, to be sure, but they're not all Mexicans. Other migrants from other Latin American countries, too. They come in through what they call a caravan. People from Africa, people from the Middle East, people from China. They all know the southern border is the easy way into America, but increasingly, Canada is too. After all, it's the world's longest undefended border. Of course, that goes both ways. We took in about 100,000 or more illegal immigrants at Roxham Road, and our CMP were there in the role of bellhops and concierges. We didn't stop anyone from coming across. But back to Trump, he said he's going to stop that. It's an extension of his first-term promise to build a wall. So as you remember, a few weeks ago, Trump tweeted, or actually he posted it on his own social media platform, Truth Social, that he expects Canada and Mexico to seal off the borders to both illegal immigrants and illegal drugs by January 20th when he's inaugurated, or he'd hit each country with a 25% tariff. Now, it's a bit odd including Canada and Mexico in the same post. I mean, the scale of the problem is much greater on the Mexican side. I think Trump just wanted to be avoid being seen picking on Mexico. He wanted to show that he's concerned about all borders. And by the way, he's not exactly a fan of Justin Trudeau. Well, the new Mexican president, who is a socialist like Trudeau, I don't think she likes Trump very much, but she understands that there's a new sheriff in town, and whether or not Trump was deadly serious about putting in the tariff, it's too much of a risk for her and her country's economy to ignore. And really, Trump wasn't asking for anything more than a good border between the countries. Like neighbors want a good fence. Have you ever heard that phrase, good fences make good neighbors? They had a phone call, the president of Mexico, Sheinbaum is her name, and it was a done deal. I think Trump was looking to show that he's already taking steps even before his inauguration. He's showing that he's the de facto president while sleepy Joe Biden is sleeping somewhere. I think he was looking to make things easier for himself when he finally does take office in January to get other countries rolling. And he's trying to build momentum of world leaders showing respect to America and to him after 4 years of disrespect. You could see that in real time when Trump went to the Notre Dame Cathedral restoration in Paris. Our friends Alexa Lavoie and Sheila Gunn-Reid were there. You can find more of that on our website. The church itself was, of course, the star of the occasion. But in terms of celebrities, all eyes were on Trump. He's back. America's back. And all the sniping and gossiping about him pretty much evaporated. I don't know if you saw, but Emmanuel Macron, the host of the event, Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky, they were hobnobbing with Trump. They were posing for photos with Trump. They were vying for Trump's attention. Giorgia Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy, was there. Even Quebec's Premier, Francois Legault. And he had a brief interaction with Trump, and he tweeted about it. I think it was sort of interesting that Legault went and Trudeau didn't. Don't you find that unusual? My point is, Donald Trump is back. And even though he's not actually the president for another month and a bit, he's sure being treated as the president. So his demand to Canada and to Mexico, while not a formal act of diplomacy, was obviously diplomacy the Trump way. He gets things done by Twitter. And Mexico's president understood that enough to remove the risk, to pull the stinger out just to get through the problem. By the way, Trump immediately tweeted his thanks to the Mexican president. Crisis resolved, at least for now. Now, whether or not the crisis will actually be resolved on the ground remains to be seen, but that can be observed and managed in the course of time. What Trump really got from Mexico was a moral pledge to strengthen the border. Now, the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum is her name, made a series of tweets that basically said, well, we're doing this for our own way and we're a sovereign country and we have our own reasons to do this, but we're doing it, which I think is probably true, and I think that's the right thing to say. She has enough self-respect to say we're sovereign and we're doing this for our own reasons, but she's doing it. Again, good neighbors, good fences. Now compare that to Justin Trudeau. He had a call with Trump. It didn't resolve the matter. So then he zipped down to dinner at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's home in Florida and the de facto White House for now. And I note that Trudeau did not bring Chrystia Freeland, the finance minister, basically the minister of everything, or Melanie Joly, the foreign minister. You would think that those are two important people when you're dealing with America. A tariff issue, bring the finance minister. Foreign affairs, bring the foreign minister. But Trudeau knows Trump despises Freeland and would laugh at Melanie Joly. And in a way, that's progress, isn't it? I mean, Joly and Freeland were explicitly quota hires by Trudeau. They were DEI hires, diversity hires. Remember this?
Your cabinet, you said, looks a lot like Canada. And I understand one of the priorities for you was to have a cabinet that was gender balanced. Why was that so important to you?
Because it's 2015. Canadians elected extraordinary members of Parliament from across the country, and I am glad to have been able to highlight a few of them in this cabinet.
Yeah, well, Trudeau kept his promise to hire based on gender rather than on merit, and that hasn't worked out well. But bizarrely, Canada as a country and the media political class just sort of accepted the worst finance minister and the worst foreign minister in memory just because they're girls. And that's how we are now, according to our feminist prime minister. We are a mediocre government turning the country more mediocre day by day, and nobody really does anything about it, and we all just sort of accept it as if it's normal. And one tweet from Trump sort of cut through 9 years of self-delusion, didn't it? I mean, even Trudeau realized, I can't bring Freeland and Jolie down there. It was clarifying. Trump is deadly serious. Remember the saying, don't take Trump literally, take him seriously. And Jolie and Freeland just are not serious people. And Trudeau sort of knows it when the crisis comes. But there was no deal done at Mar-a-Lago, was there? Not that President Sheinbaum of Mexico signed a deal that we know of, but she at least bent the knee, at least enough to give Trump a win, or at least something he could call a win optically. Trump is very transactional. Remember where he comes from. He's a businessman, a deal maker, New York real estate. So if Trump is going to seal that southern border anyways, isn't it to Mexico's advantage to get a kind of moral credit from Trump to do him a favor by giving him a little win and to get a favor in return, whatever that is, whenever that is? I think that's how Trump operates. Tit for tat. You're nice to him, he's nice to you. You cross him, he'll cross you. Don't you think that's how he works? I mean, read The Art of the Deal. That's how he was in New York. We don't even have to go that far. Look at how he was in his first term. So Trudeau flies down to Mar-a-Lago and had dinner with Trump, but nothing was really resolved. And Trump was probably thinking, I just wasted 3 hours. Now, let me say the most important part of this again. This isn't a trade negotiation. This is a border negotiation. Trump just wants to stop illegal immigrants and illegal drugs from crossing the border. He's not asking for a new trade deal here. He's telling his neighbors to fix their side of the fence, or he will fix the fence in a way they don't want. And as I've said from the outset, why wouldn't Canadians, in the Canadian interest, want to stop that illegal activity on our borders too?